Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Viking Academy podcast. This week, I have Stacey Murphy on the podcast, and holy hell, do we go into some amazing corners. I seem to be saying that on every podcast. I'm just at awe in terms of the people that are starting to show up for this podcast and what they're bringing to my awareness for myself. I'm blown away. I know Stacy from way back when we started in business together. Well, we didn't start in business together. We were in a business group called Jeff Walker's Launch Club, and she was reaching and finding her way, shall we say, not in the dark, but she was trying to find her path. And she's also a former engineer turned to spiritual teaching and guiding entrepreneurs in her spiritual journey. I'm doing the same thing. I've gone from accounting to whoop. I am now helping entrepreneurs in their spiritual journey and the connections for others as well. There's a lot of synergy there. But the thing that we got into on this podcast was the concept of interdimensional, that we're all multidimensional beings. And she actually walks me through an actual healing session. You can actually walk through it as well. What a gift. Holy shit. It was amazing. So I highly recommend that if you're interested in exploring multi-dimensions and actually going through a healing process that Stacey walks me through in this podcast, oh, get on it, listen, watch, re-listen, rewatch, hit subscribe. Anyways, there you go. Let's go explore.
Hi.
Well, hello, stranger.
Hi, how are you?
I am not who I was when you first met me.
Well, neither am I.
Isn't that cool?
We won't be the same people at the end of this interview. Isn't that cool?
I know. I'm like, when I got the invitation through your text message about your summit. Now, if correct me if I'm wrong on that, if it's not the summit, I was like so excited about that. I'm stoked. Like, what's going on? Like, what do you do? Like, we haven't seen each other for a long time, right? And I get this message out of nowhere. I'm like, holy alignment, like with the Viking Academy. Talk to me. Talk to me.
I'm so excited about this event. So I've been inspired for a long time. I've been behind the scenes kind of helping people with their spiritual path in many ways when I'm doing business coaching. And I just kind of came out of the closet and was like, all right, let's really talk about what I'm up to. I'm really up to helping people with time and space and quantum leaping. And so I got the hit to host an event called Imagine in honor of John Lennon. And magically, the last couple of years, the first one happened 2 years ago. It actually didn't happen, but it brought all these amazing people into my world. And I intuitively canceled the event. And then the next one happened the following year. I wanted to host it again. And I was in a hot tub with a interior designer. And she said, well, I'm the director of Women in Green and I have to host an event in September. And I was like, oh, let's do Imagine. But we didn't call it Imagine. We did a innovation showcase for architectural innovation. And then after that, I connected with a guy who, Brad and I from Regen World. And so we integrated Dreaming Earth into Regen World. Anyway, so this is the first time that I've ever done Imagine the way that I've imagined it. And Spirit has aligned all of the perfect people in all the perfect ways and over the last couple of years. And my vision for this event is that it will be stadium size, that we will be highlighting human potential. So people use like 1% of their human potential. And in business, we definitely look through a lens of like super narrowing, not our full self. And so bringing our full self into business means changing how we do business. So Imagine is really about play, creativity, imagination, being the little kids that we are, bringing our unique gifts. And so there's going to be games. There's going to be psychic play games, Imagine games. There's going to be an investor showcase for product innovation and another investor showcase for real estate. So I just get to do what I do, what I love to do, and I get to do it with everybody I love. It's amazing.
Okay, there's like, I have so many things to unpack with you just said there, and I honestly, I don't even know where to start. So this is fantastic. It's almost like it was predestined that we have this call because because everything you're talking about is what I've been sensing and feeling as well. So I'm doing all my business coaching, and I've been doing that with the Accountant Success Formula. I've been doing it with my accounting firm. I've been doing business coaching for clients there. And then I've just become an associate coach for Strategic Coach, which is, of course, a thinking program for entrepreneurs. And I've been coaching and being on stages. But the thing that's been resonating with me, and this is why I brought up the Viking Academy, is that I'm going, there's an intersection between the creativity of the entrepreneur and their spirituality and their purpose. Like, what is your purpose for being? And so I've had so many people on the podcast now that have just been coming from the old heavy school, accounting, lawyer, even nurses or whatever. And they're like, there's this inner calling. I need to move into the healing space. I need to move into the spiritual space. I need to move in. There's more purpose for me. And it's this growing, it's a wave, it's a movement that's happening that I see.
Yeah.
And, yeah. And the fact that you just sent that into my inbox, I'm like, holy crap, need you on a podcast. Boom, 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 boom. And it's like within a couple days, boom, here we are. We're having a call.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Consciousness is expanding really quickly. And so for those of us who've been going through all the initiations and helping people, way showers, right? Bridging people in, there are many different layers to this. And the systems that are here are falling apart in the most beautiful ways, and new systems are emerging. And the systems that are emerging are from this really like beautiful, pure soul level. So for us to receive everything that's coming our way, we really need to step out of the way and allow more love to flow through, allow more soul to step through. And so I'm really jazzed because I feel like when I was a little kid, I knew this day was coming. And ever since I was a little kid, I looked at adults. I was like, you guys are dumb. You don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, when I was in fifth grade, my science fair project was, it was 1984-ish, sometime in there. And I basically used an Apple II Plus, and I programmed the computer to make randomized art, and it would spit out random art, like pixelated random art. And everybody looked at it and said, why? And I said, this is going to be worth a lot of money one day. And you think about what NFTs are. They're basically random generated art by the computers, and how much money was moving through the system through these NFTs. And there's so many things that I saw as a little kid that are now all coming into fruition. Regenerative communities, people focused on their connection to the land and to the animals, people openly saying that they're communicating with the animals. There's just so much beautiful things in the world that I knew as a little kid. And if anybody's listening to this and like had an intuitive hit as a kid, and then it was somehow turned off by culture, like now is our time to really step forward.
Okay. So that's something I'd like to kind of dive down a little bit with you and have a conversation about that. So there seems to be this overarching pattern that when we were kids, we had this joy and this expansive, it's like, wow, this is an incredible world. And I had this great conversation with Chad Jenkins just recently, and about, somewhere around 6 or 7 is when this kind of this amazing who you are and what you were here to do was actually flowering. And then all of a sudden, boom, from that point forward, there was like layering upon layering of conditioning and programming and the rest of it. And then now there's like a reemergence or an awakening inside of not just a few of us, but a lot of us, right? It's all happening. So for yourself, and this is what I want to kind of get back to, is you said you always knew it, but did you have that? Did you go through the unconscious phase like me? Like I definitely went through in a complete unconscious phase where I was layered upon layered of programming, conditioning, and it's taken me literally well, I kind of was always uncomfortable and I knew something was more out there and I wasn't fitting in my skin, but it was probably the last 18 years, probably just during the time of my AA recovery is when I've really been diving in, but it's almost accelerated in the last 5 years. Like it's just like exponentially grown in awareness. Where, and then I'm going to come back to the question for you, is where did your journey go from? Like you said, you had an awareness when you were a kid. Have you always had the awareness, or like, can you give me kind of an understanding of what happened in your journey to get you
Yeah.
there?
And we're going to loop back to that, that you mentioned AA. Did you mention AA?
Yeah, yeah, because I'm recovered alcoholic. Yeah.
Okay. We're going to loop back to that in a second because that's really interesting. So, yeah, when I was a kid, I knew I had knowings. I could touch things and I would know things. At my great aunt, what was her name? Great Aunt Dolores's funeral, everybody was staring at the coffin, and she was in the corner, like her spirit was in the corner. And I looked at her and I looked at people, and they were mourning this dead body. And I was like, you guys, she's right over there. And they were like not able to see her. And I was like, and she looked at me and she said, she's like, only you can see me. And I was like, why? Like, why? And then when I was in fifth grade, um, not fifth grade, eighth grade, I had a voice in my head that said, if the garage is ever on fire, here's how you get out of the house. And my bedroom was above the garage. And that voice happened 3 nights in a row. And then 2 weeks later, the garage was on fire. Nobody woke up. And I knew how to get out of the house. And I thought, this was the era of Firestarter. If you remember that
Oh
movie
yeah,
with,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, yes.
and I was like, did I start this fire? Did I make it happen? Like, what is this voice? Like, did I know ahead of time? Could I have stopped it? Like all these things. And so I wrote a short story about it and turned it in thinking, finally, somebody's going to talk to me about this, because my parents weren't willing to talk about it. The people around me were like, oh, you're just imagining things, you know. And so I wrote this story thinking, now somebody's going to know. Like, I knew there was going to be a fire. And the story came back with like A minus with a couple edits in it. And I was thinking, what the heck? Like, nobody is willing to talk about this. So I went into engineering, I knew I was going to be an architect one day. And I went into engineering as an undergrad for many reasons, which are some of those layers that you're thinking about, which is like pre-programming. You should do this as a backup plan. Architecture isn't always a safe kind of pathway to make money. So, have a backup plan. And I got kind of programmed into it. But also, I loved math and science. I was a savant. Like you could give me a book and I would know every equation in the book. And so I like thrived in engineering. I used to race cars. I intuitively could tune a car. People who had been in the automotive industry for decades, they would be tracking down noise, vibration, and harshness issues in the car. And I would just sit in it for a minute and be like, oh, it's the wheel bearing. And they're like, how do you do this? And I was like, I just know it's the wheel bearing. So I've had it my whole life, but nobody's been willing to engage me in it. Or at least I'll say it this way. It's been my soul path to have people not embrace it so that I, at some point, could truly believe in myself, right? Because I kind of hired them all to not engage with it, so that this was one of my soul paths. So everybody's got different themes in their life. My first theme was, um, understanding this earth vessel, loving this earth vessel. And they say it that way, earth vessel. And that was one of my themes throughout life. I'm always exploring, I'm always traveling, I'm always all over the world. My second theme in life was fortitude. And my third theme in life was believing in myself. So I needed to hire all those people to put in all those layers so that at some point I could say, I know what I know, and I don't care what anybody else thinks. So that for me, that was something that needed to happen. And I think culturally, everybody's got a different thing going on. But there have been a set of conditions that we've all agreed to coming into this world that are all unraveling. And the next generation, you better watch out, because they are coming in hot. They remember that they are source energy. They remember their multidimensional selves. They're timeline jumping. They're doing all kinds of interesting things. They're telepathic and knowing it. And they know that things are changing and that they're here to be a part of that. And the kinds of, like, our awakening is basically to help steward this next generation in a lot of ways, I believe. But I want to come back to your comment about coming sober, is that when we engage in something that is not our authentic self, and so you know your authentic self, you know when you feel good, you know when you're in your gifts, you know when you're feeling like $1 million and you want to give because you feel so full, like your cup is overfilled with yourself. Like, I have these gifts to share. You know yourself. And our culture has been to numb some of that, dim some of that. Hey, don't shine your light. And then if you do shine your light and it's not welcome, then you start to be like dopamine hits of whatever will get you there, whether that's alcohol or plant medicines or whatever your permission slip is, or whatever the dulling thing is. And then there's some that open doors, right? Like plant medicines and all these other things can also open doors and thin the veil. So I think we've been in an era of engaging in creation, as we're all these God source creators creating our own realities and then collectively creating one. And I think we've been in this habit of engaging in what we don't want to kind of weed out what we don't want and create from trauma. And now we're in an era where people are turning to say, oh, I can create from joy, from bliss, from ecstasy. And they're starting to like really open to that possibility, but it's clear, it's like clearing tons of cobwebs in the process. So we're getting over our addictions of our old habits, which are picking grief, picking guilt, picking shame, picking anger, picking frustration, picking despair over the kind of the ways that we really want to feel. So I think it's not uncommon. And it's funny. I found alcohol when I was early. I was eighth grade, and when nobody was listening to me, nobody understood my gifts, nobody could figure out what was going on with me. I basically started drinking every day to numb. And it took me a while. It numbed to the point where it was in the background. And it wasn't until 2009 when I had a big awakening when I was at work one day, and my body physically couldn't go in. I just sat at the farmer's market that day, and I knew that I was going to create a think tank that was going to change food, energy, shelter, water, and all of it. Um, and so I think everybody's got their own soul path, their own soul timing. It's all perfect timing. You're in the perfect place at the perfect time. Just because somebody else went before you doesn't mean that, you're in the wrong place. So I think that we've just been addicted to feeling bad and then numbing it. And so that's really what this awakening is a decision to feel good, and that, like, you get to feel good. You get to create from a place of feeling good.
I love how you reframed at the beginning of the interview where you were saying that your soul path was to actually have people not see you. And you recognize that now, that that was actually happening for you, not to you. It was happening so that you could eventually embrace yourself and then come out fully powerful and expressive, because that's the path that you needed. So for me, it's like it's not being seen and heard. And my parents telling me to, like, I have a childhood trauma with mom and dad, like telling me to calm down or behave or don't, you're a bad boy, that sort of thing. It's like, and it still can come up today. I still feel those wounds with, if all of a sudden I'm not accepted for who I am. But that I'm seeing it more and more now. It's like I had to experience what I wasn't to really embrace and love what I am. And so that's like, I totally resonate with that, because now all of a sudden I've like, and it's been like, I've been feeling like an exponential surge in just the last couple weeks. Like the last couple weeks, it feels like it's getting faster and
Yep.
and quicker. Like
Always will be.
it was crazy because like on the weekend I did a speaking tour in Alberta. And
Mhm.
so talk about the heavy kind of energy, as it's the accounting world, right? So I still do the accountant success formula. That's where you and I met when at Jeff Walker's world. And I was just launching the accountant success formula, or we were all trying to figure out where we were launching, what businesses we were going to launch, right? And so I went and did a speaking tour on that. And I was like, okay, well, you know what? I didn't have any expectations. I'm just going to go there and be the rock star that I am. Like, I'm just going to go and be Eric, the rock star, and I'm going to play music. I'm going to be loud. I'm going to run through the crowd. I'm going to engage. I'm going to give them some thinking tools. And I had the best time of my life. It was amazing. And I came back from that, and I ended up selling like 24 courses. like, because I get a little offer at the end, like our little, here's your offer and whatever. Like the thing that we learned from Jeff. I love Jeff to pieces. Like all the things, the gifts that he gave us. Or definitely he gave me, I know that. But I was in this joy space and I came back and I had I drove through the Rockies. So I went from Lake Louise to Jasper, drove for 5 hours through this amazing, and I listened to Wardruna, which is this Viking chant music from the Vikings TV show. And Odin was there. I came coming around the corner, and then there'd be two ravens, and those are Odin's ravens talking to me. And I came back from this trip going, I just want to be on stage and perform. That is my happy, that's my bliss. So when you were saying that, I'm like, yes, that's what I was when I was a little kid. I got up and I started going, look at me, let's go, let's have some fun, let's play, let's just express ourselves. And then I was told, stop it, don't be so loud, be quiet, right? I've gotten over the fact that I'm not angry about that anymore. I'm not angry with my parents anymore. I've got love for them now for what they did because they were playing their part. They played their part in what I needed to learn throughout the way. And I'm starting to like the forgiving everyone is the key because once you understand that everyone's playing a part in the whole tapestry, like the whole picture, all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, no, that was for me. And this is amazing because I was asleep for a while and now I've woken up, so to speak.
Yeah, and soon you're going to realize, because there's many layers to this unfolding, soon you're going to realize that you're a multidimensional being and there are many versions of you. There are parallel versions of you happening simultaneously, and your parents as well. And you hired them. Your version actually hired them. It's not even that they did anything. It's like you hired them. And so when you get to that level of understanding, and then you can allow them to be even different people today. So I've been having really amazing experiences with my clients where they start to really embrace this idea of multidimensionality, that you are all of those versions. And so you can choose the perspective of that you want to lead with in this focal point. There are many variations. It's all frequency based, right? And then you're basically choosing by what you want to feel. And if you want to feel like the most blessed person on the face of the planet, that's kind of the feeling of being God and creating your own creation. And then what happens is that the multidimensionality of everybody else, you're allowing them to be their true authentic self, and watch out for who shows up, because now you're going to get a different version. So one of the really fun things with my parents is that I don't need to go into the stories about what childhood was like, but there was a very different version of my parents. And there's a whole story of like my hip being born out of place and me crying and screaming in bed and nobody coming to get me because I was in a brace and in pain, and it was the cried out era. There's all this stuff. But that version, it really, like, I can't even access it anymore because there was many parallel versions. And now there's another version where I fell asleep in my mom's arms breastfeeding, and she held me until her arms fell asleep. And then my dad would come and take me and put me in bed. And now that there was a collective memory before of this brace. And now there's this collective memory in my family of me breastfeeding and falling asleep in my mom's arms. And so when you tap into the multidimensionality, it literally shifts the perspective that you're in this world with. And if you're familiar with the Mandela effect, have you been looking into this?
I haven't looked into the Mandela effect. No, no.
So the Mandela effect is this. Um, how do you remember Nelson Mandela dying? Or I should say this, what do you remember about him being in prison?
I don't remember him being in prison.
You don't remember him being in prison?
No.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. No, but I know exactly what you're saying. Like I do. Yeah.
So there are people who remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison. There are people who remember him being in prison and then coming out and being the prime minister. And so
Well, the second version, I remember that.
yeah, so that is the primary, I would say, the primary memory of consciousness right now. But there is a minority memory of people who say, I remember him dying in jail. And both are true. Both are true. And so basically that's true of you, and that's happening everywhere, all around you, all the time, and you're catching yourself. So this is you just catching more of you. So that this is why when we talk about consciousness and spirituality and mind, body, and soul, there are many layers to the unraveling. You think you've awakened, and then you're like, oh, there is another onion layer that's available.
Oh, I'm 100% on page with that one because it's like this is like I don't like the onion analogy, but it's like all of a sudden I get leveled up and I'm like, whoa, I see, whoa, and then you look back and you go, boy, I didn't have a clue what I was talking about or thinking about then, and then all of a sudden, and the next week it's like, whoa, another one, and you're just like, okay, well, wait a second, I'm clearly there's so many layers to unpack and levels and it's like an infinite awakening. Like there's no end to it. But you said something there that oh totally resonated. So I just had this conversation with someone. I said, I think we're all living in multiple realities because I can't for the life of me understand how two people can watch the same event happen and them have such a different analysis and a perspective on the same thing happening. It's mind-boggling. Like
Yeah.
you're going, we just saw the same thing happen, but your experience was totally different than mine. And I'm like, the only thing that makes sense is
Mhm.
that people are in multiple, and then our realities, the dimensional, so we call it, Chad called it dimensional visional or quantum dimensional quantum oh God, I'm going to screw this up. Dimensional vision awareness.
Mhm.
So it's like knowing all the dimensional quantum vision. There's quantum vision and there's multiple dimension awareness. I think we're bleeding into each other because all of a sudden now it's like I think part like when I look at the news and all of the political strife and all the rest of that, I'm going, there's no way we're all living in the same planet. There's
Yeah.
no fucking way. This
There's
is
many,
it's
yeah,
impossible.
there's many Earths. There's hundred, there's many Earths.
Infinite ones. So, and then coming back to this, what you just said there in terms of reframing your past or having your past actually changing so the people you're with today are not the same people you were with back in the past.
Nope.
That actually, I'm actually quite
It opens
energized
the
by that.
doors. It opens the doors. So my parents' 60th anniversary was last year. They were married on 8/8/64, which is like the most fun number in the world. And so for their 60th anniversary, they wanted to reenact their honeymoon. And so we went to Niagara Falls. I was like, I really want to go with you. And they're like, great, because we need a driver. So I basically drove them from northern Michigan to Niagara Falls. And then we went to Cooperstown. My dad has always wanted to go to Cooperstown and has never gone for the Hall of Fame. And and on that trip, it was my heart's biggest desire to go there. And I'd had so many experiences with my mom before that where, they were growing up, they were atheist. They didn't believe in anything beyond this life. They had been disillusioned by the religion, by all. My mom was Roman Catholic, my dad was Lutheran, and got married, without any of that religion, didn't baptize us. The family thought we were going to be the devil spawned. And a lot of the family didn't talk to my parents or didn't, I never knew I had like 50 cousins that like never came back. Anyway, well, that we don't need to go there. So I had been having these experiences with my mom and my dad where I was staring up at the sky and I was looking at this energy in the sky. And I've been experiencing a lot of extraterrestrial life, and it's been open contact for me with spacecrafts and all kinds of things. And I was looking at the sky and I was looking at this portal of energy. And my mom looks up and she goes, huh, what's that portal? And it was like, who is this woman? Right? Like, who is this woman who is an atheist? And then before that trip as well, we were sitting on the couch and we're all I'd just been telling my mom that the war was not what she thought, like the whole Ukraine thing. I'm like, it's not what you think it is. And because she's really, really jacked up her nervous system. Right then, she gets a phone call from my aunt, who is very upset about everything going on in the world, is nervous. She wants to like hide under her bed. And my mom looks at me and she goes, wow, we really are all experiencing something different. And at that moment, all the lights are flickering and the TV goes out. And my dad looks at me and he goes, Jesus did that. And I was like, like, you don't even believe in Jesus. You told me you don't hate me, like, and so on this trip to Niagara Falls, I got to experience the multidimensionality of my parents. And they showed up on my yoga mat one morning, the right before we went to go under the falls. And I was on my yoga mat and I was saying my blessing for the day. I was sending out my energy into the day, blessing all that is and setting intentions. And my parents' energies show up right on my yoga mat. And I was like, whoa. And they said, make no mistake, we are multidimensional beings. Today, you are frolicking with the multidimensional version of us. And I was like, okay, cool, let's go. And that day, my dad started changing the weather. He would like make things up, like, it'd be really great if it would be kind of misty so that people wouldn't show up. And then like, the mist comes and like the crowd's thin and we get the boat to ourselves, And then my mom, we were just acting like little kids. I got to see my parents in this playful, creative, imaginative space and giggling. And we were like three beings of light. We had no roles. There was no more father, daughter, mother. It was just three beings having the time of our lives. And I hope for everybody that they can find that even for a brief moment with the people in their lives where they allow them to be their full multidimensional self.
Holy shit. I understood absolutely everything you just said. And I like, I'm so, okay. Where am I going to go with this? Where am I going? Like, I knew we were going to talk about some great stuff, and but that's a wonderful thing. Is like it's also for me, it's all about exploring, and I never know what we're going to talk about, right?
Well,
I've had other guests say, "Oh, let's have a meeting beforehand, and we can talk about what we're going to talk about." I'm like, no, because that ruins the fun. I want to have the excitement, the joy of discovery, right?
yeah.
But talk about getting my bell rung. You've like this is like a
Well, I want to ring more bells.
makes so much. This makes so much sense, though.
I want
Stacey,
to ring
like,
more
it makes more
bells.
sense.
Yeah. Can I ring some more bells?
Yeah.
So a
Yeah.
lot of people will go try to dive into okay, let's figure out what's going on, like getting the nitty gritty of like, how is reality created?
Yeah.
But what I really want to ring bells around is what's possible. Because if you can put this into practice, you can receive anything your heart is truly desiring. And your authentic self only desires things that are a benefit of everything, your grandest potential of all that is. So people sometimes get worked up of like, oh, if I'm a creator in my own creation, um, well, what if I just go out of control and I just start, doing everything for myself? Isn't that selfish? What's going to happen is you're going to be so tapped into everything going on with everybody else that it's going to be wins all around. But I want to ring a couple bells, which is I have witnessed personally people breaking bones sticking out of legs, and walking away with a healed leg within 15 minutes. I have witnessed people cutting off fingers and them growing back, like the finger growing back within a couple days. So our physical bodies are part of the hologram. Our body is inside of our consciousness. Consciousness basically is taking energy and moving it towards form. And so we don't need to go through all of that proof to say, this is what's possible. You don't have to break your leg to prove to yourself that you can fix it, to prove that you're a god. But just to ring some bells is what is possible. What do you believe is possible around your body? Do you believe that the things that you're experiencing are because you have uh, something that's incurable, or do you believe that you can truly shift and change? Now, some things are part of your soul path. And so you might find somebody who is paralyzed because it's part of their soul path to be paralyzed and to be in love with life no matter what. But for somebody else, they might become paralyzed. It's not a part of their soul path and they heal themselves. Dr. Joe went through a major back break and basically healed his entire spine and is now showing other people what's possible. So the body, but also systems. So do you believe that the power is outside of you, that somehow these systems are are controlling you, or do you believe that you have the power to focus on the version of government and religion and whatever systems that you think are more powerful than you? Do you have the ability to say, I know what's true for me, and look right at it and know the heart of what's there and choose and see more of what's really going on? So there is a lot here. I mean, we talked briefly about it at the start. Humans, we see 0.03%, 0.003% of the electromagnetic spectrum. We hear between 20 and 20,000 hertz. There's an enormous amount of reality that we can't see, feel, touch, whatever with our normal senses. So our human potential is there's so much more. So what are you willing to believe about yourself? What are you willing to receive and allow for yourself into your world so that you can truly have your purest desires? So I wanted to ring some bells because there's so much going on here.
Okay. So yeah, and you have this way of knowing what to ring, what bell to ring. So well done. Because I've been thinking about this, the self-healing of the body. Because I've had some health issues. I'm 55 and all that, there again, there's constrictive thinking. I'm
Limited.
55 and blah blah. But there's been some health concerns and issues and sleep apnea and some, I can't get rid of some athlete's foot or whatever these things are, and a sore back and all these things. But something's been niggling in the back of my mind for quite some time, and it's intensifying in volume in my head. That, Eric, you can heal yourself.
Yeah.
You can heal yourself. When you're ready, you'll heal yourself. And I keep hearing that over and over again. And there's a message. You just gave me another message again. It says, no, you can just heal yourself.
Yeah.
But the,
So
the concept that this is just that we're interdimensional beings and this is just my earth body and this I can step into a different earth body just by going into another dimension or however the process is it resonates with me. It really resonates with me. The thing that
let's do it. Let's do it. You willing?
yeah, 100%.
Let's open some doors for you and for other people. So I want you to put your hands on your heart for a minute.
Okay.
Put both your hands on your heart. Feel your heart. This is the center of all your desires. This is the center of all your potentials, all your possibilities. You can tap on it if you like, if you're a musician and you want to like wake it up with some rhythm, or if you want to just hold it like tenderly, that's fine too, whatever feels good. And you can close your eyes if you want. I'm not going to close my eyes right now, but if you want to close your eyes, you're welcome to do that. And I want you to feel for a moment something that you absolutely love. Now, this one is interesting because if you think of somebody that you love, but there's also some not love in there, maybe it's just music. Maybe it's something really pure that you absolutely love. Just feel into something you love and breathe into your heart and fill your heart with as much love as you can muster, much gratitude and wonder for that wonderful thing, and exhale out through your mouth. Just let it go. This is your center point. And we're just going to ask really quickly that all of our helpers, I'm just going to say a quick invocation. So to all that is, to the Supreme Being, to the Divine Mother, Divine Father, to all the great, great ones, to all the holy ones, to all of our angels, our archangels, our holy angels, our physical angels, to all of our ascended masters, to this beautiful Gaia energy and the four elements, to any loved ones who are non-physical, all of our spirit guides, our helpers, our fun non-physical friends, all of our animal friends. Thank you for your infinite wisdom. Thank you for your infinite guidance. Thank you for your infinite love. Thank you for your blessings and your miracles. We love you with honor, with respect. And I want you to feel, just for a moment, see if you can feel, I'm going to send a bubble of kind of green light, feel it like a shower coming down through all the cells of your body. Feel it cleansing and purifying, detoxifying, releasing, rinsing, anything that no longer serves you. Just let it fall through all the cells of your body. It's like the best shower in the world. It's rinsing your emotional body, your mental body, your spiritual body. It's it's rinsing everything. You can feel it maybe rinsing out inside of your brain, your neural pathways, opening. I want you to just let it fall down through you and then let it fall all the way down through your feet, like it's a shower, releasing all that. And feel it going down through your feet, down into the earth. Feel it going down, down, down into the dark, 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 dark earth, all the way to the center where there is a beautiful light. There's a beautiful star at the center. And that white light transmutes, transforms all that you're releasing. And then that white light's going to shoot back up out through your crown. It's going to rain down all around you in this beautiful toroidal field all around you. And I want you to feel the love of what's available for you here. Open your heart and allow more. Allow yourself to feel the expansion, rejuvenation, regeneration, homeostasis. And feel the light expanding and expanding all around you. And I want you to ask for any insights, awarenesses, messages, anything that you could receive now that might help with any of your questions about any of your physical conditions. It might be a knowing, it might be a feeling, it might be a color, it might be a sense, it might be a shape, it might be a symbol, it might be a vision. Allow yourself to receive all that you are. You know exactly what your body wants. Your body is inside of your consciousness. And whether or not you receive this right now, know that it will come by the end of today in the most magical, synchronous way possible, the answer to your prayer. And with that, come on back and open your eyes.
That was awesome.
Did you, I'm curious if you received anything. I received a little nudge, but I'm curious if you received anything.
Um, I, I, well, throughout the whole process, I felt the energy and I felt the flow. Um, I've been visited and they've been talking to me for a while. I just haven't really acknowledged it as much. Had quite the experience actually with I can't I interdimensional being last night at around midnight. It was crazy. Um,
You're welcome.
they like smacked and punched me in the face afterward. They gave me a little smack in the jaw and what kind of woke me up. I was like, whoa. Um, uh, and so, oh, okay, got it. Bingo. All right, thank you for that. Um,
I love your face right now. It's so good. You're having
yeah,
you're having more awareness.
yeah, okay, yeah, that's good.
Do you want to share some more about that? For
Um,
people listening, something that might be beneficial for them to hear from that?
I've had multiple I've had multiple experiences with, especially at night when I'm just waking up. I've had them show up above my bed. In most cases, they're very terrifying. It's
Yeah.
terrifying. They most have been scared the hell out of me. Um, and then I actually did a past life regression or a spiritual regression with Nikki Hughes. And I've had her on the podcast. And we did it. And when I did this spiritual regression, I went back and I saw my spirit council. All those beings, those interdimensional, and there some were two dimensional, some were three. They all joined me and they said, "Hey, let's take you to the spirit council." And like, so I got to make friends with them now. I've had a couple more experiences where they were off, but the one last night wasn't. It wasn't. it was a weird tantric sort of intense feeling. And then I got a smack on the face and I woke up. And then this morning I went, oh, did I do something wrong? And I heard, no, 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 that was fun for me too. And that's, I was like, wow, okay, that
Yeah.
was crazy. So it wasn't a fearful one, but there was like this intense tantric experience to it.
Yeah. So that's a lot of people are experiencing this, the root chakra. This is like the essence of feeling safe. And so for us, there's these initiations throughout your spiritual progression that you'll experience on a very practical level. And the tantric, the sort of opening up of the root chakra, is really that core place of knowing that you are interdimensional and it's safe, and that it's about learning, discerning what's for you and what's not for you, and what's truly scary and what's actually not. And so what's happening is open contact is coming. So 2027 open contact will be here. It will be even more apparent to people who it's not apparent to yet. And so um what's happening is people are coming face to face with things and they don't know what to make of it. It doesn't, I'm like, I don't have any experience with this. Who is this entity? Are they here to hurt me? Are they here to help me? What's happening? And so there's a layer of initiation into this process, which is about um, opening the door, opening your heart, and allowing in what you would like to allow in. The minute fear comes, it's like a door slams shut, and the things that you really desire, you can't access them from that point, but you have to find a way, whatever it is. And you did whether it's a QHHT, and I like that you adjusted your language, because there's no past, there's no present. I'm sorry, there's no past, there's no future, there's just present. So it's not about regression, it's about tapping into a version that's relevant to you right now. So you're tapping into something that's relevant for you to learn. I just tapped in the other night to the version of me that got eaten in a cave by a giant bear. And I was like, oh, like that shifted things for me tremendously. And so knowing what's scary and discerning what actually is not for you, that's not beneficial for you, and discerning what is beneficial for you. So you're starting to realize that you can allow more of them in. They're here to help you. And you're learning to open the root chakra. I can feel it, so that you can allow more of what you want in. So this is exactly what I help people do. So I'm kind of like, I just came today to offer, who I am. And so I love that this is happening. I had a feeling this would happen. I also got the feeling, if you really make the connection to some of the things you said something about athlete's foot, which is really interesting to me, because what is that really? What is a fungus? Well, what a fungus really is mold. It's moldy thoughts. You have some moldy stories. And so when you start to see that your physical reality is just symbology, it's just a hologram that's showing you, reflecting back to you, your thoughts, your beliefs, your ideas about what's going on, then you can look at anything and be like, oh my gosh, like, why did I, like, you don't have to go through cutting off your finger. You don't have to get that extreme. You can be like, oh, I got some moldy thoughts. I have a moldy foot. I must have some moldy thoughts somewhere. I wonder what those moldy thoughts are. And ask your helpers to show you in the easiest way possible. Come before you go to bed. You're most receptive when you're sleeping. Ask your guides to come in and say, help me know more of my vitality and my well-being. And then they could do a lot of things. They could rewire your brain. They could activate more DNA. They can do so many different things for you, but you have to ask them for help. And so people who are talking, like, I help people quantum leap, and I can get really intricate and talk about the nature of reality and how reality is created and how this hologram works. But until you experience the practicality of it and you're able to use it in your life in a way that feels beneficial, that you feel in your heart about, there's no use in the intellectual process of it. So I'm really grateful that you went here today. Thank you for opening the door to that.
Oh, well, literally, I was just reading about this book. It's U Squared. and it's U squared, and it's all about taking a quantum leap and having this quantum reality. Like everything is all aligning itself right now. And I'm kind of over in a slight bit of overwhelm at the moment because
That's,
I'm
I
trying
do
to,
that.
yeah, I'm trying to articulate.
Wait, just pause. Don't articulate. I just want you to pause for a minute. Um, when people are around me and they start to move through a quantum leap and reality shifts, don't get too far in your head. Let the energy flow through you, because if you have vertigo, if your thoughts want to jump back to something previous, allow this energy to really embrace you, allow this shift to happen. Like this is real time stuff happening for you. So don't get too far in your head, but do express from the heart. So keep moving into your heart, express from there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because you just adjusted. I just felt the energy shift, and then it went back down, boom, into the heart. And now it's this awareness. There's an excite. See, I'm a passionate person. Like it's just like either I'm passionate about it or I have no interest. Like I'm
Perfect.
a go and stop kind of guy. Like it's like I'm full Viking intensity or it's like fuck it, I'm sleeping. Like I just don't I don't want to do anything half-assed. And this really is feeling freeing and joyful and abundant and fun. You know
Yes.
what I mean? Like, let's go play. Like I've had this in my mind. I even envisioned a book that I said, like, life's a sandbox, go play. Like
Yeah.
that's just something that a book that I've had in my head for a while, or that in my my head. It comes every once in a while and it pops up. And sometimes I see the cover and it's like, oh, this is a book I'm going to write in the future. I'm like, okay, is it time for it now? Um, here's where I wanted to come back to.
Mhm.
I've been communicating more with these interdimensional beings.
Mhm.
I've had conversations with them. All of a sudden, um, they said we're gonna give you an upgrade. And I said okay. And I said, what do I need to do? They said just let go. And I'm like okay. And then I just lied there, and all of a sudden I could sense them coming and working on me and talking like. And I've never talked to anybody about this. Okay, so I actually was lying in bed and. It was daytime. It wasn't nighttime. And I just said, okay, fine, just work on me. And then they came in and they did a whole bunch of stuff. And then all of a sudden they said, okay, you're ready. And I went, all right, what do I do now? They said, well, you get up and you go about your day. And I went, okay, fine. And I'm like, so that's happened a couple times where I've had communications with these beings. They've said they're working on me to upgrade, to do an upgrade on me. And I'm like, okay. And having more,
Yeah.
last night was really vivid. Like it was like so vivid. And like I felt the smack on my jaw, and that's what woke me up. And even my wife, Erin, she goes, I said, I had this wild experience with an interdimensional last night. She goes, at around 12 o'clock. And I said, yeah. She goes, I felt a really weird energy in the room. Like she's very tapped into, we got jokingly call her the witchy woman, but she hasn't really wanted to. She's holding herself. I can see that she's holding herself back. Like she needs to
Yeah.
I know, but
Well, you're helping by being your most authentic self to allow the space to hold that, because there's a lot of energy around silencing all of this over the years. And so people are nervous, but more and more people are coming out and expressing their true experiences. Like I think you're going to help people. I've had experiences where I'm laying in, nature, and time stands still. Like everything comes to a complete stop, and I'm having these conversations with the entities, and then time begins again. And so, I'm teaching people that time and space, how it works, but I'm also helping them normalize, because what you're experiencing is normal. Everybody's experiencing this. It's just not the common conversation yet. And there's good reason for that. When you open the doors to all that is, there's much more there. And there are things that can actually harm people that's not for them. Right. And so when you open yourself wide to all of this, you have to really be discerning about what's for you and what's not for you. And so people need to open at the pace that they're ready to open. And so she's in the perfect place, you're in the perfect place. All you need to do is stay authentic, and share authentically with her, let her share authentically. And over time, she may or may not, it's her soul path as well. So we get to allow everybody around us to just be where they are and hold them, knowing that they are God creator of their version, and that they know exactly, like, this is the other thing I want to talk about, is one of the things that um, really hurts a lot. If you think about, if you're God and creator, but you're also everything. So we individuated, separated, so that we could have chocolate melt on our tongue, and we could, rub up against somebody and it feels good. We could use time, space to like be separate. We're also one. So if we hurt somebody else, we hurt ourselves. So one of the things that has been coming up as a theme in the world now, as people are starting to become their full self, their authentic self, is that there's this dark side of, oh, well, now I need to help people. This word help. How
Mm.
many times as an entrepreneur have you heard, I help so and so do so and so, right? And so what you're saying in that moment is, I know better than that person. And that actually hurts. So there is this hero complex that once you start to feel this expansion, you want everybody to feel it. Like, why, everybody around you, you want everybody to feel it. But the minute you go into fix it mode in any kind of situation, if you put yourself as a hero, then you've automatically created a victim and you've already created a villain. All three are happening simultaneously. This idea of a hero is something that is really hurtful, because it says that somebody else is wrong. It says that they are not creating their own reality. It says that they are powerless, and that is not true. So I've been focusing every time I've been untraining that word of help. So I basically am a bridge. I hold the frequency of knowing the version of people that their authentic self. I look at them as source energy looks at them. And then I'm a bridge in the frequency, the same way that I was just a bridge for you. It's like I'm holding the frequency so strong, the knowing of you and the path of you, that you got this, that the person, it amplifies their authentic signal in themselves, where they can start to hear more, see more, know more about their soul journey. So that's basically, in my experience of a quantum leap, it has been around knowing the God of the other person, and then allowing them to do it in their time space that they need, that they need to feel safe.
Thank you for articulating that. And I know that, and that's the feeling I've been having lately. Like when I went on the speakers tour in Alberta, I went, I'm not gonna, because I've been trying to change the accounting profession. I've been trying to help them because they're in so much suffering. And I'm like, why, guys, look, I found a way out. Come join me. Like, come on, let's go. And it's been so hard and difficult and gooey. And I finally, a couple times, I've almost given up and I said, you know what? Fuck them. I'm out. I'm not going to help you anymore. I'm done. I'm tired. I'm tired of trying to help someone because it's too much work. Like I have a saying in all my businesses, I don't manage anybody anymore. I don't manage a single person. I'm not in the game here to manage people because it's too much work. The minute I went on the speaking tour and I went, I'm not going to manage or help anybody. I'm going to go and be and have a fun time. I'm going to I'm going to express Eric, the Viking, in its fullest form, and that's who I'm wearing today. And I just went and had a blast. And I was shocked at the response of people coming in, but it wasn't. And then when I went to do the second speaking tour, I had to readjust my expectations again because I felt that heaviness of, oh, I better repeat the last one. I better do what I did last time so I get the results, instead of going, no, 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 no. Enjoy the moment. It's going to be a different presentation. It's got the same bones, but I don't know what I'm going to say. So just go and enjoy it again. And I did it again, just enjoyed it. And I got results. But again, I'm trying not to attach to the results because I don't want to get to the point where I'm thinking I'm helping them. I love that feeling of holding the space
Mhm.
and inviting those who want to join me on this frequency. Hey, come on and join me. And I even said that in the front of the speaking event. I said, listen, don't believe or disbelieve a word. I said, promise me this. Don't believe a damn word I'm saying. And everybody was like, what? And I said, don't believe me. I said, don't. Don't believe me or disbelieve me. You either, if you're curious, go and investigate it for yourself. And then it was like an open invitation to allow them to come in. So I love how you reframe that, because that word help has judgment in it.
Mhm.
Help is judgment, which means you're thinking someone needs something. You're playing God. Like that's that for us in Alcoholics Anonymous. It's like, stop playing God. Stop playing God. Stop judging other people and saying this is the way things should go. Instead, try and figure out how you fit into the puzzle of the universe.
And when you hear those words back, when you record this, it'll be interesting because you are God, but God doesn't judge. Like it's interesting that that's the God that came. I understand I understand what you mean.
Yes.
That's the God that's been in the Christian mythology that's been portrayed to us, but that's not Yeshua, and that's not, the lineage of, if you look back, oh my gosh, if people want to go down the rabbit hole, look at Mary Magdalene and look at Anna, Yeshua's grandmother, who was hundreds of years old. Like she was a master priestess. And all of that gets written out of religion because it shows how powerful we are. And anyway, if you ever want to go down the rabbit hole, that is a phenomenal book, Anna.
The interesting thing though with the AA
Yeah.
methodology of the approach is, if you told an active alcoholic who's just trying to recover that you're actually God, the ego would just, that's the problem with the alcoholic, is it's overactive ego and it's in fight or flight mode. And it's either you're the greatest person in the world or you're the lowest one. And like the ego is out of check for the alcoholic. So to actually tell them at the front end, you actually are God. They're like, oh, I'm God. I can take, and then like, oh my God, it's like throwing fuel on a fire, right? You just explode the bloody thing.
Totally got to know where people are. You have
But
to
on
know.
a,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but on that personal note, like, so for me, um, I resonate, and I had this beautiful conversation with a very tapped in spiritual fella in Jasper. His name was Atin, and him and I had this amazing conversation. And he was like, "It's all for Krishna," and he was talking. We were talking about the Bhagavad Gita and how beautiful it is, and he's like, "I give it all over, and I'm here to play this part." And he was just in this beautiful alignment space of joy. And I told him the truth. I said, well, I am there, and then I weevil out, and then I go back into this three-dimensional heavy space, and I feel pain and fear, and then all of a sudden I go, oops, click, and then I wake up again, and then I come back into here, and then sometimes I waver off over to the way up in the distance, and then I go, oh, click, get your feet back on the ground, right? So this, for me, I have this balance that it's this weeble wobble that I go through. I have moments of this incredible clarity and insight, and I'm like, I'm here, and I feel the energy, and I'm like, wow, this is fun. This is exciting. And then I go sleep again, and then I forget, and I feel pain and suffering. And so that's been my experience so far.
Yeah, welcome to being human. It's these are habit loops, right? So it's so funny. Like if you were to train a dog, um, a dog that really, really wants a bone, you can't try to take the bone away from it. That's not how you do it. You refocus the energy on something else, right? You're like, make something else more interesting. So what's happening right now across most of consciousness is that we've been trained for so long that the way to get what you want is to work really hard at it and to basically think you can't have it and then climb every mountain and work down, bust through every door and work on it and like beat it down. And then basically what happens is at some point you get so tired that you just surrender and you're like, oh, I don't know, man. And then it all happens. And so
You've been reading my mail.
yeah. And so we have been trained to be motivated, to work hard, these are beliefs that are falling apart in our culture and in our society and mass consciousness. And now what we're realizing is that we can actually create from joy, and there's a process. I help clients. I just said it. I just said the word, I help.
Yeah.
But I show clients a different path, which is basically how to cultivate the energy, and then snip the cord and let it go, and let all of our helpers, all of our non-physical helpers, crystallize it back into physical form. It'll loop back around. It'll come right back around to you in the most magical, amazing way possible. But you got to snip that. You got to snip that cord. And so we forget and we try to go after things because it's a habit. We're like dogs, you know. So when I play with people, when I work with people, I'm noticing their habit loops in their patterning. And then we find new ways to program their day so that they remember more often, because it's really, that's all it is just remembering more often, because there's always going to be expansion. You like you're always going to have another layer of something you want, another desire, another fun thing, another thought, another imagination. Your ability to keep up with it is just allowing more of it in, allowing more of it in, allowing more of it in. And as you expand, not get too caught up in the, I don't have it, I don't see it, it's not here yet. Where is my stuff? Like tantrum, like a little kid in the candy store who's like looking at his mom, like, where's my stuff? Give me that. So just retraining that habit loop so that your nervous system is in the calm. You'll have a different experience over time. It'll accelerate even more towards the side of that calm.
That's it's attachment, like non-attachment. It's not detachment, because detachment means that I have to actively work at detaching myself from something, but it's just this concept of non-attachment. Whenever I feel non-attached to,
Mhm.
when I have non-attachment, which is, it's a word that encompasses everything. It's just, I'm wearing this shell is known as Eric the Viking. This is just what I'm wearing for right now. Like I'm not even like, if I'm not even attached to the concept of me, then there's this freedom and this lightness and this joy that comes from it. Um, and so that's, for me, happy and joyful and creative, and exploring the world. This is why why I created the Viking Academy. It was a calling within me. I started to reapply my childhood, which was, Eric was a Viking when I was a little kid. They called me the Viking all the time because I was passionate and energetic and all the rest. And I'm like, I had this rediscovery of that. So I wanted to bring that out. And I was like, what is the ethos of the Viking Academy? And I'm like, I'm not even sure. People say, what is it? And I had started, I went, don't know. Just, I said, it's evolving. And even last night I went to the website, and I all of a sudden, a good friend of mine, Stel Nikolakakis, he gave me this incredible soul download, and I get it. And I upgraded the copy on the website, and all of a sudden now it's feeling like it's in alignment. But it's like, even that, I'm not holding on to it, because I'm like, I'm going to experience more, and it's going to expand more. And it's just free and light and fun and exciting, right?
Mhm.
Like that's where life, for me, that's what I want for myself. I want to live in passion and purpose. And so one of the things that you just said there is to stop using the word help. I think also I had a message come down. It's like, stop saying helping clients.
Mhm.
Say share with others.
Mhm.
Like just share with others, because that's all we're doing, is we're just sharing with others what we've learned, as opposed to helping, which is heavy, and clients, which is also heavy, because that's a transact, because they're a client. Do you know what I mean?
Well, clients doesn't have to be heavy. Clients is not a negative thing. That's just a storyline that you have. Clients doesn't have to be heavy. You can absolutely imagine that your clients, you love to sit around a dinner table and have dinner with them because it's the most engaging conversation of your life and you're having the most fun ever. These are people, these are human beings. I think the word client, the what you're feeling there, I just felt it,
Yeah.
is there's a disassociation from their full humanness. When you say the word client, it's like you limited it to the version that you're getting. But you can be, I mean, I take, it's so fun. I take clients to the baby gray whales in Baja to kiss and hug the baby gray whales. And we're out there every day on these boats, like eye gazing with whales and hugging them and kissing them. And we're in communication with the whales. Like I'll say, hey, who wants a high five to the whales? And a whale from the ocean or from the lagoon, like farther out, will wave its flipper at me. And I'm like, all right, like come get it. And it'll come around and it will lift its arm and like get a high five in. And so the like, if I were to talk about those people as um from the old knowing that I used to have, where like a client is a transaction,
Hmm.
that's different. This is like life experience. This is sharing. This is expressing. This is loving life together. This is celebrating life together. What if you got to be paid to be authentically you? And what if that those people just want to be around you and want to shower gifts on you, and they happen to be clients, and the just the way that we look at them is different. It's like they're whole human. They're it's a win-win. It's like, what if your client said, I have somebody, I'm a client of somebody else who helps me, my spiritual advisor. And I have a check written for her that is $888,888.88 that one day I will give to her when it feels right. And like that is like the joy in my heart will be the day that I hand her that check, right? And so think about the joy of your clients, of the exchange, because what what's happening is that money's just energy. It's not transactional, it's actually experiential. And when we really allow it to be this expression of love that it is, like, I love spending time with you, here's some cash, it's a gift. It could be any gift, it could be socks, it could be it could be anything, right? And so I don't feel the negativity in the word client. I feel like those are human stories, but the word help really has a, I feel like across our culture is a tricky one for a lot of people. Yeah.
I love how you put in that you have a check written in your heart, in your mind to give to somebody else. That's a check that seems so huge right now, but it's like, no, this, I'm going to be writing this person this check one day. That all of a sudden resonated with me because I know the story of
John Kerry.
yeah, yeah. And he talks about having he wrote this check out and he goes, "This is what I'm going to get. I'm going to receive this in the future." And he wrote that. And I was like, "That's really cool. I'm going to think about that." And I actually thought about that yesterday about receiving a check from someone for being a performer and a coach. So someone's going to pay me $1 million for being their coach, or they're going to pay me $1 million for being on stage. One, coach and for me to entertain and enlighten and empower them. But this concept of writing the check to the other person is even more powerful and more exciting. So I'm gonna soak up on that one. Um,
I think you should do both. I mean, practice receiving.
yeah, yeah.
Um, you'll find a place where your cup feels so full that all you really want to do is give everything, right? Including this made up thing we call money.
Well, it's currency. It's an energy, right? Currency. That's why we call it currency because it just flows back and forth. It's the receiving. So that was in one of the codes I needed to hear from you was that it was for me, it's receiving, being able to receive. I'm very much a big giver. Like I've been give, 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 give. But to the receiving side is something I need to. But having that on both is like have a check in your head that you're going to receive from someone else and have a check that you're going to give to someone else. That's
It, yeah, I
a
mean,
beautiful.
the way that energy works is it's got to have somewhere to go. So we're consciousness moving energy into form. And if we don't solidify where we want that energy to go, then how can it flow through us if we haven't decided where we want that energy to go?
I'm still kind of uh, clutching or not clutching, but I'm thinking about the word client, and I think for me the connotation for myself, and again, I feel the flow and the energy and the release of sharing with others as opposed to sharing with clients because clients for me still has an old school the accounting
Yeah,
the lawyer the accountant and the rest of that stuff. I don't so for me it still has that
perfect.
it has that association to it. So and I think this is one of the other wonderful things that I just had from this interaction on that just that one specific point is like words can mean different things to different people. and allow people to have their experience with that word the way they need to have that experience. I have that experience with the word client. You don't have that experience with the word client. I hear you and I understand your experience with it. I get it. It makes sense because I've never worked with someone as a transaction. I end up knowing them, friends, and if they're not really close to me and we don't have like an open relationship, not an open relationship, that's that way. That was a little weird. Okay. But do you know what I mean? Like it has to be like I become friends with all the people that I work with. And if I'm not a friend with them, it doesn't last. And I don't want to be around them anymore because it's like it doesn't resonate. So there's someone, if the person's closed off and they're not willing to share themselves with me and I can share myself with them, it's like it becomes a superficial transactional thing and I'm not interested in that anymore. Like I don't think I ever was. I don't think I ever was.
Yeah. I love the two things that you shared because they're related. You have to know where you are. This is the discernment part. So if client has that tinge to you and you need to use the word others, that's perfect for where you are. I actually had to rewire the word achieve in my head and make it allow and receive. So basically, I hypnotized myself and I reprogrammed it so that whenever anybody around me said the word achieve, I heard receive. And so you have to know where you are, because if you're coming from your authentic self, then you know what that word means to you and you're honoring yourself. So honor thyself is always the most powerful thing you can do. And I love that you knew the discernment of, okay, what she said is true for her in this moment, but that doesn't work for me because I have a story, I have a belief, I have a whatever, and that's okay. I'm where I am. And so I'm going to use a different terminology. And then you went into knowing that there's certain clients that are for you and other clients that are never going to work and they're just going to fall away. And that's the way it's going to be. You don't even need to fire them. They just poof.
Yes. Yeah, I've experienced that as well. That whole getting to a point of you mentioned it earlier in the beginning where you said it's this striving hard, 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 and then finally you just go, oh, screw it, and you just throw your hands up. And you said, I surrender, I'm out. And then all of a sudden it starts working. That's happened to me multiple times with the accountant success formula, like that coaching program. I've especially when we were in Jeff's world, Jeff Walker's world, and we were doing product launches and trying to lead magnets and all these things. And Jeff's a beautiful soul. Like he doesn't go down the negative dark road that a lot of the rah, shall we call it, marketing people that I've heard. Jeff's more of an alignment, but he still uses the methodologies. And every time I tried to do a product launch or anything like that, it never worked. And I struggled and finally I went one day, I was just like, fuck it. I threw my hands up. I'm done. Stop pushing. And then all of a sudden it landed 2 clients like out of nowhere. And I'm like going, oh, so it's that easy. And then I heard, yeah, it's that easy. And I went, and then you have a good little chuckle, right? Okay. So, oh boy,
By the
we
way,
could be on this for hours.
yeah, by the way, I just want to say one thing here.
Yeah.
It's no coincidence. Right now, the garbage trucks just came. So you might hear some background noise.
Oh, there you
So
go.
literally, as you were talking, the garbage was being thrown out. It was like this new version of Eric is here. I can feel it.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Okay. So we could be talking for hours and hours and hours, but we need to wrap up the podcast eventually here. So the last thing I just want to ask you is tell, I want you to share with the listener. That was amazing. All the stuff you've shared so far. This is fantastic. And I also love going back and I listen to all my podcasts because I get more from listening to it myself than when I'm in it because this is going to be another one of those ones that I'm going to come back and listen to over and over again and go, what other codes do I need to pick up? But I want you to share with the listener what you do and who you share with, how what clients you work with, because you work with clients. What you do, and so where they can find you in case they're interested in learning more and getting to experience what I just experienced there.
Yeah. So I love when people recognize that there is more calling to them and they're not sure what it is or how to get to it. I love when people have a dream, a vision, and it feels really big. It feels like that's crazy. That's impossible. I a lot of startups and a lot of real estate deals where they're building entirely new eco villages or communities or schools for the next generation. Those are the types of people that I love playing with. And oftentimes the soul path is it's not linear, right? And you find yourself in a place where you really need the kind of support that is here for you, that knowing that everything has your back and you're ready for the next evolution of that knowing. So those are the people I absolutely love working with. And so I've got a couple of different ways that we play together. And so it can, for some people, somebody like you know, we could do a quantum attunement session, just jump on an hour call, and we could quantum leap you into something new pretty quickly, because you have awarenesses and you're ready for that. For some people, there's a release, more of a release that needs to happen, a larger process. So I've got a quantum leap incubator, and that's specifically for people with businesses, because these businesses are emerging through you. And the business, if you really look at innovation, bringing something that's never been done before into the world, that means you're not going to do anything the way anybody's ever done it before. And if you think about all of the people who've brought amazing innovation in the world, people look at them like they're geniuses. Guess what? You have all of that. That's your human potential. You can do that. So that's what I love working with those people who have a really big vision. They feel it and they're not really sure. Some of them don't even have any business background and they think that that's going to hold them back, right? So those are the people I love. We can play with a quantum leap incubator, which is basically for the business. And that is a combination of videos about how time and space work, how reality works, how your physical reality is structured, how you're choosing where you are in that reality as a part of the process. So your logical mind, I say, can shut
Yeah.
shut up.
Fuck up. You can say
Yeah.
it. Shut the fuck up. We say
Okay.
this a
Shut the
podcast.
fuck
It's
up.
all good. Yeah.
Yeah. And allow yourself to live truly from your heart. So that's that. And then I do quantum leap adventures, and I take people to the baby gray whales where they learn to communicate with animals. So they're shedding the idea that um, now that they're opening, how do I now communicate with all that is? And they practice by communicating with the whales and interacting with the whales, hugging and kissing. And the whales are so generous. They're amazing. I take them to jungles or to forests to communicate with spacecrafts, have interactions with interdimensional beings, have more awarenesses that that is happening in the moment, being able to engage with it on in your desire, right? Not waiting for it, but really engaging with it. And so so I do quantum attunements, which are quick and easy for people who kind of get it and just need a tune up. Quantum Leap Incubator for businesses and people who want to bring a vision, developers, startups, business owners, people who have an idea. And then these Quantum Leap Adventures, where we also are going to go to some sacred sites this year. We're going to go to some of the pyramids in Guatemala. And 2027 is going to be epic. The eclipse, the solar eclipse in Egypt in 2027 is going to be extra special. So
Oh, I see some collaborations on our future because I've had this vision of doing what I call Viking raids,
yeah.
going to locations and experiencing the mind, body, and spirit of that culture and that location. And just like the Vikings, you go, you experience, and it, well, except for the raping and pillaging, we're not going to do that. We're going to go and actually, you get to take home with you what you want. So you go as a Viking, you explore, you discover, you experience, you take back what you want, and you leave the rest, right? That's something that it's been in my peripheral for quite some time. And you're
And,
doing those quantum leap adventures sounds awesome.
and speaking of which, if you're somebody who leads events and you want to bring the quantum leap to your people, I love doing that. I love playing with people, with their audience. So we bring in the quantum leap at the beginning and we move through, integrate it into what you're already doing so that your audience gets the value of it. So that's a possibility as well.
Where do they find you?
So right now you can find me in two places. One is called dreaming.ventures, and that is where the incubator will be for business incubation and new ventures. And you can also find me at stacy.earth. And at that site, you'll see whatever is new for me. So whether that is speaking tours, whether that's the quantum attunements, the quantum leap adventures, all of that will be there as well. So those are the two places to find me.
This has been fucking awesome. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. I'm looking forward to exploring dreaming.ventures and stacy.earth, and I hope the listener will as well.
And like you said earlier, these websites are currently being downloaded. They always shift and change with the energy. So wherever you find yourself on this website, I guess that's the point at which you're meant to find it.
I love it. Thanks for being on the podcast, Stacey.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. I love everything you're up to. Go Vikings!
Go Vikings!
Thanks for listening to the Viking Academy podcast. Make sure to leave us your honest feedback by leaving a review on Apple or Spotify and hit subscribe so you never miss an episode.